On the 12th Sunday of Christmas, Sharon shared with me a box. It's actually a shaker box. And this one is a pretty good size, but I'm going to show you in this video how you can create boxes of many different sizes. Let's get started. Stampin' Up! Recently held a craft along for its demonstrators on the private Facebook group just for demonstrators. And one of the things they provided was this handy guide for creating your own box. So although I have a math background and creating boxes of any size is not a challenge for me, I thought I would walk you through this because I know it is a challenge for other people, especially if you don't have a math background, and definitely for those of you who don't like math, and I know you're out there. So let's figure out what size box we need. Now, perhaps I wanted to gift, say, a punch. Now, a punch is pretty heavy, but I'm just using this as, an idea. So if I measured this punch, it is 5 inches in length and 3 inches wide and 1 1/4 inches tall. So I want to make sure that I'm going to leave a little extra room because I don't want a perfectly snug fit. It'll make it hard to get it in and out. Plus, the bottom that they are creating for the box is going to be slightly smaller than the finished measurements. So you want to make sure that your finished measurement doesn't fit this exactly. So we said that this was 5 inches long. So I'm going to say I want a box that is 5 1/4 inches long. And then I want my width to be, instead of 3, I want it to be 3 1/4. And then I want my height, the height of the punch was 1 1/4. So if I add 1/4 to that, that's 1 1/2. You can add any amount that you want, by the way. All right, so now it's a matter of filling in things. So the finished length from above, and I would just go ahead and anywhere you see the word finished length, you're going to fill that in with the 5 1/4. Anywhere where you see the finished width, you're going to fill in 3 1/4. And anywhere you see height, finished height, you're going to fill in 1 1/2. So that appears a lot of times, and that's because those are the sides of the box. All right, so now to find the total lid length. So the cardstock length that you need to start with is 5 1/4 plus 1 1/2 plus 1 1/2. Now 1 1/2 and 1 1/2 make 3. So 3 plus 5 1/4 is 8 1/4. And then 3 1/4 plus 3 is 6 1/4. You'll notice that these first 3 equals, it's the same as that. So we're going to take 8 1/4 and subtract 1/16. Now, there are 4 16ths in a quarter. So this would be 4 16ths. So 8 4/16 minus 1/16 would be 8 3/16. If you look on your paper trimmer, the Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer, each tick mark here is a 16th. So the shortcut for this is if your length is 8 1/4, you would look for 8 1/4 and go back 1 tick mark. And you can see that that's 1, 2, 3 tick marks after the 8. All right, and so now, and I do the same thing here. So 6 1/4 would translate to 6 3/16. All right, so now I need to start, for my lid, I'm going to use Designer Series paper. So I'm bringing in Modern Christmas. Now the easiest one to use is one that is non-directional. Because when you take your box lid, let's just pretend that this is the box. So if I pulled in something that was directional, for instance, Let me get out this fa la la paper. If I pulled that in, when I make the box, this is going to get folded around. So this will be fine, and this will be fine, and it'll be fine on the sides, but these fa la las will be upside down. If that bothers you, then you need to use a non-directional paper. All right, this is non-directional, so we need something that is 8 1/4 by 6 1/4, according to what we just worked up. So 8 1/4. Now, usually with my DSP, I start with a smaller measurement to cut. So 6 1/4 is, there's a line just before the edge of here and where the arm swings out. So that's 6 1/4. And then I'm going to turn it and cut it at 8 1/4. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remember what my height was, and that's where I'm going to score it. Now, if you want your lid to come above the box bottom a little bit so that it shows the bottom of the box, you would adjust your measurements here a bit. You'd have to take off some, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just have a perfectly well-fitting box, and I'm going to score at 1 1/2 inches on all 4 sides. Okay, so we have this piece that measures 8 1/4 by 6 1/4. Let's score at 1 1/2 inches in from each side. So I'll put it at 1 1/2. I'll score it. Remember, this is designer series paper, so you don't want to score it too hard. You'll rip it. If you have a simply scored board, that works well too. So I'm doing it on all 4 sides, and I just keep rotating in the same direction. That way I don't get lost. Okay, so this is my box top. Oh, look at that. It's the fa la la on the other side. Hadn't even paid attention to that. So you can score this. I mean, you can fold this and burnish it to get nice creased edges. Okay, so there we have that. And in order to form the box, there's a couple different ways to do it. I just showed you one last time where I cut up here and then I rotated 4 times. The other way to do it is you can cut on these vertical score lines. If it's hard to see on one side, try flipping it over and you can probably see the score lines on the other side a little bit better. Sometimes it's a little rough with white, and sometimes it's a little rough with, there's foil. And this has both. But creasing it ahead of time really made the difference. So you've got these little score lines in here. And then what I'm going to do is these will fold in, but to make a nice, clean looking box, if you miter these outside edges, and some people like to miter the inside of the tab as well. I find that the outside is generally enough. Just taking a little bit off so that nothing sticks out where it's not supposed to. Okay, so now you can see that when I fold this over, we've got a nice finished edge here, and we just need to adhere that. I use glue typically. You can use something strong, so if you don't use the glue, you'll want to use tear and tape. And to know where you really need to pay attention is you need to really pay attention to the exposed sides. So that's where this and this edge will come to the box. So right along the score line and then the outside one that you mitered. Here we go. Oh. caught on an edge. You want to make sure it's nice and squared up there. You're going to do that on all 4 sides. So I'm going to go for the side that is next to the score line, and then the upper side. That's where I really want to get a good adhesion. And then same thing on the other side, along the score line and along the outside edge, and the rest of the way too, but there we go. And then I need one more. This one's a little bit more finicky, just because you've got the rest of them already done. Okay. And there is our box top. Okay. Now we need to create the box bottom. So let's go back to our handy dandy sheet, and we're going to create a bottom from a sheet that is 8 3/16 by 6 3/16. I'm going to use black because I think that will look lovely here. So here I have a sheet of basic black. I'm going to start with a smaller measurement, 6 3/16. Now 3/16 is a little hard on my trimmer. 2/16 is where this white meets the gray, and then they do have some more tick marks in here. It's about halfway across that gray, maybe a little bit less. So there's 6 3/16. Sorry, I picked measurements where my cutter seems to be a little bit of a problem, but that's good for you to know where things are on that anyways. And then 8 3/16. So 1, 2, 3 tick marks past the 8. And same thing that I did before, I'm going to score in at 1 1/2 inches because that's my height. So we'll score all 4 sides 1 1/2. Now the reason why we are going 1/16 less in the measurements to start with is because we want that lid to fit over the bottom of the box. It has to be a little bit larger, which means the bottom has to be a little bit smaller in order to fit properly. All right, there we've got it scored on all 4 sides. We're going to do the same thing now. I'm not going to crease right now. I can go ahead and cut it. Same thing I did before. I'm going to cut up on these vertical score lines just to that horizontal score line, and I'm going to miter the edges. Turn it. Do the same thing on the opposite side. Well, that one wasn't a very straight cut. Doesn't matter. I'm just getting something out of the way, but still. Okay, so there we go. We're done with this. Now we can crease. Creasing, burnishing, whatever you want to call it, is so important on boxes because it really gives it that nicely finished look. All right, and then we do the same thing that we did for the box lid. Except you can see the glue a whole lot better this time. So you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Green glue, if you use too much, you'll get it to, it'll, kind of squeeze out the sides and your hands will become sticky. That's why a lot of people don't use it. The key really is to not use too much. Just use the right amount. But I know that that's why a lot of people don't like using green glue. However, I think it's got the best hold. It's better than tear and tape. It's less frustrating to use than the Seal Plus, I think. I think the Seal Plus and I get along fine, but I know that, again, it's probably just because I've used it a lot more. I mean, when it first came out, I was very frustrated with it. But now we're friends. All right, so there's my box bottom. I'm just going to let that glue set up just a little bit here. And then if you look, then you can put this box top lid goes right over the top. Now, if you want to create some areas where you have little finger holds so it makes it a little bit easier to get the top off, then all you need to do is bring in a small punch. I have a very old whale's tail punch I'm stamping up, and I'm just gonna take a little notch out of that side. Whoops. And a little notch out of the center of this side. Just eyeballing the center. There we go. And oh, let's see if it does fit my, look at that. Just a teeny tiny little bit of wiggle room. And we'll put the box lid on. Whoops. So it's still a snug fit, which is what you want. Hold on. I can't talk and put it on at the same time. There we go. It is still a snug fit, but that's what you want because you don't want the lid to fall off too easily. Okay. So that's how you create your box. And then, of course, you want to decorate it. I've got a great idea. Well, what I think is a great idea to decorate this one. And let's see if I can make it come to life. I'm going to put the box together just because it'll help it be a little bit sturdier. I can't. All right. The key is not to put one edge all the way on. All right. There we go. I'm going to bring in my Fa La 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 that I had worked with before. And I'm going to create a layer for the top. Now remember, this was 5 1/4, so let's go with 1/2 inch smaller. Let's go with 5 1/4 by 2 3/4, because the other measurement was 3 1/4. So there's my 2 3/4, and here's my 4 3/4. If I put this over the top, I've got this, but I'm going to create a little window in this. All right, I'm going to bring in my Stylish Shapes and my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So here's plates 1, 2, and 3. I've chosen the 3rd largest circle here. And we're going to line that up right there. Put another number 3 plate over it to die cut it. You can cut any shape window you want. I happen to want to do a circle. So I can see quite a little bit of the Fa La La still, which is great. Now I need my window sheet. And let's see, I happen to save all the little pieces. Here's a fairly little piece. I need it to be large enough to go over the window or the hole and not stick out on either side. This one works. Now I want the window sheet to be underneath. This side goes up, so this is the back side. And we're going to adhere my window sheet. And I like to use, now if you don't have enough time for this to dry, then you're going to want to use maybe tear and tape instead. And you don't want to overhandle your window sheet, especially where it shows through. You can kind of press all you want out here. It'll take just a little bit longer than normal for that glue to dry, just because acetate, is not porous. The paper will. It will dry. It will stick. It'll be great. Now I need to create some space between my window, because I'm creating a shaker card, and what's behind it. So let's do that using foam adhesive strips. Oops. Foam adhesive strips. Now you can kind of curve these as you go. I find that you can't curve a whole lot. Like you can curve some pieces, but you don't want to curve one big whole piece. You'll just want to keep making some smaller pieces in here. And just getting fairly close. So you can just do you can create like a hexagon. You just don't want those sequins to fall through. You can see this tears pretty easily. But you definitely want to make sure that you are putting this on the back side. If I am honest with you, which I'm about to be, I did not. I wasn't even thinking, and I put it on the fa la la side in an earlier recording, so I had to start over again. All right, now you can see that you've still got a bunch of pieces. Out here is not stable. This will stay up in the middle, but out here I'm going to stabilize that a little bit with just regular dimensionals. Just give it a little bit of support out there. I could also use more of my adhesive strips. Doesn't matter. All right, take this off. Whoops. Take this off. I'm going to get this all ready to go. And then I'm going to get my shaker elements out. For my shaker elements, because this is white, black, and gold, I've got these gold sequins. And another thing I want to do is I think I could have just that peeking through. I could also take another scrap from my designer series paper. Let's see, where is that paper? And use the one that has the little Christmas trees on it. I could fussy cut some Christmas trees out. Let's see how that would look. I'm not sure if I'm going to like it. So the Christmas trees I'm talking about are on this piece right here. So, I mean, I could put this in the middle. Look, I'm not even gonna cut with a paper cutter. All right, I do need to trim some off because I know that my element is not that wide. So let's see how this is going to be. So if I put this over the top, you can see you just have your Christmas tree in there. I like it. I like it. So I'm going to adhere this. Now, of course, you didn't have to do any of this stuff. You don't have to make a shaker box. I'll put this right in the center. If you didn't want to make a shaker box, You could just tie a beautiful bow around this and add a little tag, and that would make a really nice presentation. All right, so this is going to go right over the top, but before I put that down, I need my shaker elements. So I'm going to very carefully, I've got a little spoon I use just for these things, and I'm going to take a little bit of the static away using my embossing buddy. Take a little static away here. And I can also take a little static away on my window sheet too. All right. Let's take a little bit of these guys and we're going to just put them here. I'm going to do, yeah, that might be like a quarter of a teaspoon because it's 2/8. That should be plenty. You're going to watch them jump to the acetate a little bit because there's still going to be some static probably. Maybe not. So now we're going to just press right around this circle so that my seal is good and my shakers don't fall out. So isn't that fun? Just a fun little box. A little shaker box. And easy to grab a hold of and put back together. My eyes are not working very well tonight. Black is very hard to see when you're working with it. All right, so there we go. Here's my little shaker card. Fa la 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 la. And that is the 12th Sunday of Christmas. Thank you so much for joining me for my 12 Sundays of Christmas series, edition 2025. I don't know what 2026 holds, but I'm going to start planning now and scouring the internet and scouring my brain to see what I can come up with for projects that will give you some great gift ideas or gift packaging ideas for next year. Don't forget that if you would like the copy of the PDF that Stampin' Up! Provided demonstrators with, I'm happy to share that with you. It will be in my Monday email. So if you have not yet subscribed, go ahead and do so, and you will automatically receive that PDF tutorial on how to create boxes of any size. And you'll also get the directions for this particular box. Have a great week ahead. It's almost Christmas. You have less than 2 weeks to go. So go ahead and start creating some special packaging if you haven't already, and have fun with it.